The Pozuelo Dolmens are in the Spanish region of Zalamea la Real in the province of Huelva. The El Pozuelo megalithic complex is formed by 13 monuments distributed in 3 groups. I had time to visit Dolmens 1, 2, 3 and 4. They are in a remote location. Once you come off the main road, you drive along a very sandy dirt track for a few kilometres. The remaining dolmens are around 3 kilometres away. The landscape is amazing. There are steep slopes, ravines. It's very sandy with lush colours, and on the day it was absolutely scorching. Way too hot for a Scotsman. This is Dolman 1. These dolmens are thought to date from 3000 to 2500 BC. It was an amazing sight to see this ancient, sacred and mysterious site for the first time. This dolmen is unique. It has 2 chambers. This is the north chamber, which has a decent sized capstone, as you can see, which is 3.3 metres long, and it's estimated to weigh 2.75 tonnes. The entrance faces east, and within this chamber, within the passageway, there's a stela. And immediately next to this chamber, we have the south chamber. There's around 40 orthostats remaining. So as we walk along this passageway in the chamber and walk under the capstone, you'll see in the distance on a hill, Dolmens 3 and 4. There we go. Amazing. The heat was really quite something, so I had to have a moment, stay in the shades, and what better place was under this capstone at this incredible megalithic site. So as we approach the south chamber, again the entrance faces east. The whole site, this whole dolmen number 1 is contained in like a circular mound. It's quite something being here and seeing this site and look at these orthostats which have stood the test of time for thousands of years. On this hilltop and around these 4 other dolmens, there are other Neolithic habitational areas linked to the megalithic builders. So there's a Copper Age, early Bronze Age walled settlement located on the highest point. There's a mining camp and several late Bronze Age copper mines. There's also, and then around this dolmen, there's kind of, you can see like stones here, like some sort of circular platform surrounding the dolmen. There's kind of stones and like wee standing stones around it as well. So there's a lot of activity going in and around this dolmen. Again, with the heat, I was quite conscious of how long I could be out here. Plus, I had my wife waiting in the car, which is a wee bit of trek off. So I did my best to try and soak it up, really tune into this particular dolmen before moving on to the next one. I've been to so many megaliths now that each time I come away or look back at a visit or trip, I have certain feelings or experiences or energy when I go to these places. It's kind of like I become a collector of experiences, and from this dolmens and visiting this site, it was the tipping point for me, because up to now, following my experiences in Egypt, I've said, my journey's been like a spiritual quest of sorts. However, now, no, it is a quest. What's really pushing me and driving me to go to these places. This was a very remote location and an absolutely boiling hot day. What was really driving me to do it. So, that was a tipping point for me. I knew it was a quest. So as we leave Dolmen 1, you can now see in this other hill, Dolmen number 2. This group of dolmens are located at the head of the Agua Fria ravine. Each of the dolmens are located on their own elevated hilltops. So dolmens 1 and 2 we're about to approach, are located on 2 higher hilltops to the east with an elevation between 330 and 335 meters. So Dolmen 2 has 2 chambers, as we'll see in a wee second. These are 2 perpendicular chambers which seem to be contained in a large elliptical mound. This is the south chamber. We're coming up to here, which is right next to the west chamber. This dolmen's in a bit more of a ruinous state than the other 3 dolmens. However, with the whole setting, the landscape, and these 4 dolmens in this cluster, in this area, it's just still very, very impressive seeing it. This dolmen with its mound also seems to be surrounded by stones. So again, there's a lot of stones in and around and circling around this dolmen itself. It's interesting to see each of these dolmens, I think, strategically placed on each of these hilltops. And as we can see, we look back at Dolmen 1, where we've just come from. So I've left Dolmen 2 now, heading to Dolmens 3 and 4. This site has been known since 1946, and in the last few years, Jose Antonio Linares Catella from the University of Huelva put together the first detailed chronology of part of the site. So that's well worth checking out if you'd like further details. And that was Dolmens 3 and 4 we've just seen in the distance there. By this point, I was really struggling with the heat. To give you a sense for it, one of my phones packed in, it was overheated, so I couldn't use it. So I had to use an old second phone that I had with me to take photos and videos. The heat was all part of the experience from this trip. I mean, this landscape is really amazing with these steep slopes and ravines, and it's really quite sandy and lush colours. It's very remote, and with that heat, it really added to the whole experience. Hunting for megaliths isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey. There's a thrill of the unknown. There's definitely something about the solitude which appeals to me when you go to these remote landscapes. Each journey is different. Sometimes the megaliths are hidden deep within forests, overgrown and forgotten by time. Other times they stand tall in kind of windswept moors, stark against the sky, as if defying the passage of millennia. But the one constant is the sense of kind of awe and wonder and excitement when you finally come upon them. So here we go. So we're now coming to dolmen number 3. Dolmens 3 and 4 are sitting next to each other and sitting on a hill at an elevation of 325 meters. Dolmen 3 is very interesting and again very unique. It has 2 parallel chambers. On the left is the south chamber and on the right is the north chamber. This passage we're about to enter faces southeast, and again this whole site, Dolmen 3, is contained in a circular mound. So as you go in the passageway, on the left, yeah, here is like a antechamber with a stela. And on the right here, this is the north chamber. And again, there's like stelas there as well. Beautiful seeing these stones, these orthostats. And then back to the antechamber, which there's like a wee capstone there, which leads to the south chamber. This dolmen has around 50 orthostats. These two chambers are large and quite spacious. The orthostats and stela have some engravings and the remains of red paint, but they're quite hard to make out. Yeah, I need to reiterate again, it was such an amazing feeling and experience spending time and seeing this dolmen and all these 4 dolmens for the first time. You know, I was absolutely buzzing. So I'll show you the dolmen from the outside now and kind of walk around it to give you a wee bit of sense for it and a bit of perspective. So that was dolmen 3, and here we are at dolmen number 4. Dolmen 4 is built in a circular mound and the passage faces east. This dolmen also feels quite unique as it's like kind of split into different sections. We have the passage which we have here. We're walking around from the outside. There's like an antechamber there. You can see some pillars or like a stela in the centre there, and then quite a decent sized spacious chamber at the back here. Again, absolutely loved dolmen number 4. This dolmen has around 40 orthostats. Also with dolmens 3 and 4 here, there are many stones kind of scattered around and what looks like stone walls kind of forming some sort of enclosure surrounding dolmens 3 and 4. So as we walk inside the passage, there is it's like an antechamber, and there's like a pillar or stela, and then we've got the main chamber itself here. It's absolutely fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed that tour of these 4 incredible Pozuelo dolmens in Spain. Absolutely loved it. You know, the time I walked back to the car to see my wife, it must have been in some state. I was absolutely knackered, sweating, covered in dust and out of breath. But, you know, I was really energised and very happy. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it as always. Please give us a like, comment and subscribe to Rep in Nature. All right? Nice one. Cheers.